Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast.
Welcome back to another episode, team. We're stoked that you are here listening. Now, most of you guys are CrossFitters already, but as a CrossFitter, you know you always have to explain to a lot of people on what you're doing in the gym, why you're doing it, and I feel like a lot of people around you have so many questions and concerns about CrossFit that maybe sending them this episode might spark some thoughts for them and maybe even get them interested in trying this thing that you freaking love. We hope you enjoy this episode. Make sure you give us a rating and a review, and let's get to it. We're going to start this the proper way. Okay. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Let's do this.
We in the studio.
Welcome back, everybody. You are live with Susie and Brandon.
Wow. We have never recorded so many podcasts in such a short period of time.
I'm getting sick of you. Just kidding. I love you.
This is one of our pre-recorded episodes. Well, as I'm saying this, actually they're all pre-recorded, but this is our pre-recorded episode for the future.
They're all for the future.
For the far future. Weeks in advance.
Yeah, while you listen to this, we'll be chilling on a beach somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Banter topic. It's going to be a little bit different from your timeline that all of you beautiful listeners
We're going to confuse
hearing
you
this, but
probably because we're going to talk about things in a timeline that doesn't make sense.
But last week we had our neon workout.
Yeah, or a few weeks ago.
And it was freaking epic. DJ Navidad put on an insane show.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite performances by Monsieur Navidad.
Monsieur Francis.
Monsieur DJ.
Yeah, Frank killed it on the DJ set. Also,
I just feel like he just gets better and better.
Yeah, and his lights were insane. Liz, our wonderful photographer, came in and took some incredible photos as well.
We got some action shots, which is very cool, but the music was like a little bit on the harder side, and I was here for it.
He came over to me towards the end of the workout, and I was like, why is he coming over to me? Like, I'm walking in between everybody and with the microphone and everything. And
like, what does he want?
And I was like, what's going on? I thought something was wrong. And he just looked at me and he said, I'm going really hard right now. And we were all feeling it.
It was epic.
Yeah.
I loved every second of it.
I guess maybe hard, deep, like the bass was good.
Yeah.
It was a good flow. He was mixing the tracks in between in an insane way that my knowledge doesn't even comprehend. But yeah, it was fun.
I don't know how he does it. He's a literal magician.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that he sends he creates a Spotify playlist with some of the songs that he put in there, and he just sends it over to you, and he's like, yeah, this is kind of, and you
the
think,
vibe.
Yeah, he kind of just, as if you were to just click play on that playlist, and then you click play on it, and it doesn't sound nearly as cool as when you're in person.
No, because it's just it's without the mixing.
Yeah, the mixing makes it unreal.
The tracks.
And then you look at his computer while he's doing this. I've seen him do this now. We've been to his house. We've seen him doing it at other events. And it's just a whole other...
You know, the DJ is really like the heart and soul of the party.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
Just one statement.
Point. And that's what I wanted to say about that.
Yeah. And Frank definitely brought high amount of energy. We had about 56 athletes, I believe, participate in the neon workout.
Yeah, smaller end of our attendance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just because we're fresh into the new year or something like that. But it was like a different crowd. We have regulars, let's say, of our neon attendees.
Yep.
And just so happened that we had kind of a different crowd of people.
We also had a lot of, or maybe not a lot, but we had a few of our members who have been here forever who have just never done a neon workout.
Yeah, so it was cool to see some fresh eyes reacting to their first neon workout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was really fun.
Epic it is.
Yep. So that was really, really cool. I'm not sure. Maybe we might be able to squeeze one more neon workout before
The people want the
winter
neon
ends.
workouts.
Yeah. We're going to try to get one more. DJ Navidad is expecting his first child as well.
Yeah.
In May?
End of May, beginning of June.
May, June-ish. So we're going to maybe see if we can squeeze in one more.
Before daddy daycare starts.
Yeah. And the thing is also we have the CrossFit Open coming up, which I can't remember if you guys have listened to our Open podcast yet or if it's coming up next week.
I think it's next week.
Okay, so you guys are going to have to stay tuned for next week because we did a full podcast on that one, which I'm excited for you guys to hear. Or maybe you guys already heard it. Who knows? But yeah, so we have the CrossFit Open coming up, which is pretty much every single Friday for 3 weeks in a row. So that means we can't be doing a neon workout on Friday nights because we're going to be full focused on the Open. And then time changes in March. So we're kind of in a pickle because we can only do these neon workouts when it's dark out.
It's not really neon if it's bright outside because we have
Exactly.
beautiful windows.
Yeah, we have these massive windows that bring in so much light, which I appreciate. But for these neon workouts, it needs to be dark. And
I don't know, just something tells me we're going to make it work.
Yeah. Anyways, really cool event. We have also, and by we, I should say Susie has also been doing some yoga at another place.
Yes.
Tell them about it.
I have started to do a weekly yoga class at 9:30 in the mornings on Thursdays at Pigeon Club Cafe, which for my West Island or Montreal people is on St. John's, where the chapters and the casual scholar and stuff used to be.
Why does everyone say chapters?
Because it was called Chapters forever, and I'm not ready to change it.
It changed 4 years ago.
It's going to be Mix 96 forever. Forget the Virgin Radio.
Mix 96, wow.
Anyways.
It's so random.
So random, but those who know. If you get it, you get it, okay? Yeah. Anyways, at Pigeon Club Cafe, we've been doing a weekly yoga class. It's a super beginner friendly, open to all levels, pregnancy friendly class. Mm-hmm. And it is scratching an itch I didn't know I had.
Mm-hmm. It's been a while since you've been teaching yoga.
Haven't been teaching yoga for the last year, I guess, other than a few private students, but haven't been teaching a class in a minute. And I didn't feel like I missed it, but reincorporating just one class per week into my routine, I just feel this is why I was called to want to teach yoga in the first place. I really feel at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did great. I took your class this morning for the first time in a long time for myself as well.
Yeah.
And I felt great. Felt good to go into those deeper stretches, and I felt a lot less stiff after. Yeah.
And Brandon doesn't usually like my yoga classes, so.
It's not true. I just don't like doing yoga that much.
Yeah, you're not a yogi.
I am not. I'll dabble in the yoga here and there because I know it adds a lot of benefits in terms of mobility and flexibility. Uh-huh. But in terms of the whole, we're going to focus on our breathing, and
make fun of it.
I'm not usually the spiritual guy. And
I don't
what
teach
happens
a
is,
very spiritual yoga though.
No, you do not. No, that's why I typically enjoy your yoga classes a lot more. Or also my brain just has a hard time
switching off.
Yeah. So when we're in these deep poses and I'm uncomfortable and you're clear your mind, and I'm work, life, this has to get done. Yeah.
And that's just a reflection of our personalities in general. Brandon's turn your brain on, and I'm clear your mind, baby. Yeah. And he's can we have a conversation about work? And I'm
But I'm curious, who handles stress, or who has more stress?
You have more stress.
I don't know. I feel like I'm more chill, we'll say.
I'm chill.
I'm chill.
I'm so chill. Shut up.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel I'm definitely my mind.
My anxiety comes out in random weird bursts, I think. But on the day to day, I'm pretty chill. I think you don't realize how good you have it.
Spin it on me.
Awesome. You are so blessed to have such a chill wife, and you should thank the universe every day.
Yeah. Every day when I get out of bed, I drop on my knees and I pray, thank God that this wonderful woman is lying right next to me.
Yeah, you better know it. No, I think I do a good job of going with the flow in life.
Yes, we both do a pretty good job at that.
I don't get stressed about the details. I don't stay up late working and whatever. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because we're going to be going to the airport in 48 hours.
Okay, I have no chill at the airport.
Anyways.
Okay, but I'm just like one of those people who like to chill at the airport for like 17 hours before my flight starts.
Yes. Anyways, we won't go into it.
Every relationship, there's one person who's always freaking late for the airport, and then there's the other person who wants to stare at their gate for 4 hours, and I'm just the stare at the gate for 4 hours person. Okay.
Hey, listen, I just don't want people to get
the wrong impression.
The wrong impression here.
That I'm so chill.
I am no. That I am very like punctual. I would much rather go to the airport early, but Susie likes to get there extra.
I like to give myself a 3-hour buffer on early. The early that I want to be.
Yes.
No, yeah, you're right. I have no chill at the airport. I think that.
Anyways, we're moving on. It was just a random thing,
That's
as
funny,
you guys
though.
can hear from this.
Clearly, this is a constant feud.
But going back to your yoga, it was a really great session. The Pigeon Club Cafe is a beautiful new cafe that's been open for only 3 or 4 months at this point.
Yep.
We've gone to know the owner, and hopefully we'll get him into our gym as well.
Yeah, we're working on him.
One of our big missions this year is to get outside of our walls and start building connections and relationships with other business owners.
100%.
And yeah, he was a great connection that we started this year off with on the most positive note.
I think that we have one thing really in common with him, which is why the relationship has started to accelerate quickly, is that we are doers.
Mm-hmm.
We're not think about this idea, talk about it for freaking 6 months and nothing ever happens. It's like we met him. He was like, oh, I'm kind of down to start a yoga class. And I was like, I teach yoga. And then 5 minutes later, we had planned a time and a day, and then we launched the first class, and it was kind of just, okay, let's do it. Versus there's so many times when people are like, it would be so cool if we did this workshop, and then it just never happens.
Yeah.
We're just not
2
those
months
people.
later.
We're just not those people, and neither is he, and I love that about it.
Yeah, and he's really nice too. And the actual cafe is freaking beautiful.
Cafe is beautiful. Food, 10 on 10. Coffee, 10 on 10.
Mm-hmm.
Just all around good vibes.
Go check them out.
Yeah.
And if you want to participate in Susie's yoga,
I'll be back on February 15th.
Yep, Thursdays, 9:30 a.m. You can have a coffee after, even some food.
Hang out with me, have a coffee after, get
to know how little stress Susie has.
How relaxed I am. And just feel my chillness.
Okay, we're going into the topic for today, which I think Susie's actually going to talk about this more, because the topic for today is misconceptions of CrossFit.
Yeah.
And this was...
Does it bother you that I'm talking more than you? Because usually it's the Brandon show.
I love this. This topic was brought to us by Maria.
Coach
Maria. And I am so deeply invested in CrossFit that I'm not sure about all of the misconceptions. I mean, I've heard so many over the years, but I feel like I'm only focused mainly on CrossFit Max and growing this business, that I don't get to hear a lot of the outside noise, I guess, as much.
Yeah, well, I deal more with the
people?
Leads.
Yeah.
The leads that we generate. So
I put out the content to get people into the gym, and Susie's the one that
closes them,
takes them in and guides them, grabs their hand and walks them through the process.
Their life forever.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
so
chill.
Misconceptions of CrossFit.
Yeah. Well, I think just to rephrase the topic, because
Shoot.
I don't want to say just all. No, you're good. But misconceptions of CrossFit, but more like the things that CrossFit, the misconceptions of CrossFit, but more sort of the common excuses or fears that we get confronted with basically the daily when you tell somebody outside these walls of CrossFit Max, hey, I own a CrossFit gym, or I'm a CrossFit coach.
Mm-hmm.
Typical things that you hear back. This is kind of what the topic is.
Go.
First one is I'm too old.
All right. That's a good one.
I hear that anytime I meet someone. I want to be like really mindful here. I'm not talking, these are not senior citizens that I'm talking to. These are like 40-year-old people who are like, oh, I'm way too old for that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
shocking.
I just want to slap them a little bit and shake them. But, I'm so chill. I would never do that.
My inner frustrations are already coming out.
Rage.
Susie is chill. Clear your mind.
I'm just like so chill, but like, shut up.
Yeah.
No, the point being is it's so ridiculous to me that in 2024, people are still saying things like I'm too old when they are not even middle age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how do you answer that?
I answer that by saying, yeah, you are, and don't come to my gym. No.
How do we actually answer that?
Well, what I tell people is that nobody is too old.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist being too old because that's your mindset around it. That's not, your age is not limiting you. It's your belief that your age is limiting you.
Yeah.
And then I typically go on to tell people that we have members who range from 15 to like 70 years old at our gym. So would you tell any of those people that they're too old to work out here who are already like crushing it in the gym? No. Yeah. So why are you telling yourself that you're too old?
Yeah, it's more of a mindset around why you can't do something.
It's a fear of, I guess people are afraid to try new things, especially as we age. We become more and more fearful for some reason of trying new things and getting out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
But what's really important to understand is that the only thing stopping you is not your age, but is your approach, your mindset. Yeah. So if you decide that if you make a conscious mental decision that you are not too old and that starting now is better than never starting, because your health isn't going to drastically improve as you age, let me tell you. So if you are deciding that age is going to affect you, well, you're actually going to age more quickly.
Yeah.
If your concern is aging and you would like to somehow reverse or slow the aging process, then actually CrossFit is exactly what you should be doing.
For sure. Everything we do here is to improve how we feel, the longevity, mental clarity, your focus, just overall health. I mean, was it Tom that told us the other day that no matter what in your life, you're going to have to spend a period of time on your health?
Because recently he was in the hospital because his girlfriend broke her wrist.
Yes.
But he was in the ER noticing how unhealthy people were. And he was like, whether you take the time now to invest in healthcare prevention, like going to the gym and eating well and all of those things, or not, you will be forced to take time for your health at some point. Because in the other side is if you don't take time to do prevention, you will have to take time to do sickness care.
Yeah. And trust me, you'd much rather feel good about the prevention than feel like absolute shit and then have to go to the doctor later on.
Yeah.
And then even though worst case scenarios, when you start developing like chronic disease, like type 2 diabetes is extremely scary. Strokes, cancers, heart disease. I mean, this is the number one killer of Canadians is heart disease. And this is something
preventable.
This is something that's completely preventable by eating a relatively healthy diet and exercise.
It's infuriating when you work in this industry to see so many people suffering from diseases and chronic illness that can easily be managed with good diet and exercise. And then I would say, like, when it comes to the fear of CrossFit and specificness to that, it's not like we throw you in a 300-pound deadlift and ask you to do a handstand walk on day one.
Would that be one of the misconceptions we're going to talk about later?
Yeah, I guess that kind of, we could lead into it unless you had more to say.
Yeah. Well, just to close that off, like you can either focus on your health now or you can focus on it later. And
no, you can either choose to focus on it now or be forced to focus on it later.
Absolutely. And I guess one of the answers that I would like to provide for people would be just physical proof. And if anyone says at any age that they're too old, I will show them someone at that same age who is killing it in the gym, who is killing it in life, whether they're 12 years old, whether they're 28, whether they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s. I've even coached people in their 70s. And literally all I want to do is just put that human in front of them and say, hey, tell this person why you're too old to do CrossFit. And that person will tell you every reason why you should be doing it.
100% of the time.
So yeah. So I guess that will kind of close off.
That kind of like hits the too old, and it leads right into the next just common fear or common roadblock that people come to when you tell them about CrossFit, or that you do CrossFit, or that you coach it, is that people are like, that's way too intense for me.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the CrossFit Games would be a little bit too intense for you, for sure. But what we do inside of our gym is so varied and so accessible and entirely created and thought out in a way that somebody's grandma and somebody's 20-year-old nephew who's on a hockey team can equally get a great workout.
Yeah, with the same stimulus.
And come out feeling amazing at the end.
Yeah. Intensity is relative to each person. And that's what I love about CrossFit. If I tell someone that, hey, we're going to do this AMRAP of 10 minutes and they have to do pull-ups and dumbbell front squats, well, maybe the college athlete or the person who has been doing CrossFit for 5-10 years can do, kipping pull-ups on the pull-up bar, but maybe we have the 50, 60, 70-year-old person who wants to be able to just pick themselves up off the ground if they fall, which is very common as you age.
100%.
Right? And then how many times do we hear someone falling, breaking a bone, or just falling and not being able to get back up, right? Yeah. So someone who falls, they just want to feel good and be able to pick themselves up, a basic human function to be able to pull themselves up or to be able to push themselves back up. And we can make them do ring rows, or we can make them do push-ups, right? We can make them do body weight squats. You don't have to load them up with dumbbells or barbells. Every movement we do here has an alternative movement or a modification that can be made for each person relative to age, relative to fitness level, to get the exact same stimulus in every single workout.
Yeah. So I think that that intensity question is so easily debunked because that's what the coaches are for.
It would almost be like looking at NASCAR driving and saying, whoa, I cannot drive a car because if I get on the road, I'm going to have to go 300 kilometers an hour. It's a little far-fetched if you're looking at the CrossFit Games and you're seeing people snatching 300 pounds and you think that, and you see them shredded six packs, muscles popping every year. But you have to realize this is the sport. This is the elite. This is the 0.0001% of the world who is making it to that level and who train as their full-time job to do this, to peak at that moment. Right? They're not like this for 365 days. Sure, they're pretty darn fit throughout the entire year, but they're peaking at 1 or 2 moments, either to qualify to the games and then to get into the CrossFit Games, right? They're peaking at about maybe a 2 to 3 month block for their fitness to be at their very, very best. And then you're seeing that on the big screen at the CrossFit Games.
Right.
But you don't look at NASCAR driving, or you don't look at, I don't know, professional hockey and tell yourself, I can't go play hockey in my local arena, or I can't go out with my son at the local rink here, or I can't get into a car because I have to drive 300 kilometers an hour on the highway here and dodging in between cars because there might be a car accident, those things are, it's an interesting outlook if you just look at the sport of CrossFit versus you look at what's actually going on inside the CrossFit boxes.
And I think what this whole discussion today is going to boil down to a lot of is mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you choose to approach it is going to affect what it really is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think when it comes to intensity, that's what the trained professional coaches are for in the class. They are here to guide you, and we are going to make the class accessible for all levels of fitness.
Yeah. That being said, if anyone's watched the Netflix documentary Drive to Survive and you're watching the Grand Prix drivers, I definitely got into our car after that and was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, into our little Chevy Spark. Beep, beep. Beep, beep, coming through.
Okay. Is there another one we want to, or maybe a couple more that we want to discuss here?
Yes, for sure. I'm thinking.
Well, I think like maybe to feed off of that one is like the intensity, but also the higher skill movements that are with CrossFit.
100%.
So we see a lot of high skill work, maybe through Instagram videos, through the CrossFit games, through TV, the documentaries they put out and all that stuff of people doing rope climbs and muscle ups and snatches, jumping into the ocean, swimming, and then coming back and picking up, I don't know, logs and squatting with logs. We're seeing like the most intense things, but a lot of what we do in the gym is an extremely controlled environment, and a lot of what they do at the high level competitiveness is try to make it as uncontrolled, I guess. I mean, it's still somewhat controlled. It's not like football. People aren't tackling them and you don't know which way they're coming from. Like, it's still controlled, but they try to...
Full contact CrossFit.
Yeah. What we do in the gym is very, very controlled.
And
every single movement.
Functional movements.
And we really focus on like very functional movements, and we specialize in movement patterns, let's call that. We really take our time to understand, how am I... when I'm squatting, I'm supposed to push my bum back and then down. My knees should be in line with my toes as I'm squatting.
Yeah.
Why is it important for me to go hip crease below knee crease? Why is it important when I press a dumbbell overhead to fully extend my shoulder and my elbow to really get the dumbbell straight over my head?
Yeah.
So a lot of what we see, I guess, on social media or on the CrossFit games is fast, high skill levels. But before we even kick upside down and do handstands, we're doing dumbbell pressing. We're doing barbell squatting. We're doing goblet squats. We're learning how to properly lunge. We're learning how to do basic pulling functions like a ring row before we even get into some pull-ups.
100%. And even more detailed is we're never launching a new person from the streets into a group class.
I love when we say the streets.
We're not picking up people in the streets and shoving them in a group class.
Yeah.
We are working with them one-on-one for many sessions in order to teach them how to move safely and properly before we put them in the group class. That's what the foundations is all about.
Yeah. Yeah, even like the minor details of like keeping the bar close to your body when you're deadlifting. It's like all the finer details that I don't think a lot of people realize. They just see the outcome of like the high skill, intense stuff. But you'll see people, snatching 65 pounds in our gym. They're not snatching 300 pounds like you're seeing on TV or in social media. You're seeing people do strict pull-ups in our gym and kipping pull-ups. You don't really see the strict pull-ups unless you're watching like bodybuilding stuff. And then even then when you're watching bodybuilding stuff, you're seeing like kind of half repetitions. Like, we really focus on quality movement 100%. And understanding the foundations of movement prior to even getting to any sort of like high skill, intense types of movement.
And while we're on this discussion around the intensity and stuff, I think that CrossFit has changed a lot over the last 20 years it's been around.
Yeah, it's actually been around for more than 20 years. I think like 2000.
Anyways.
2001.
The point being, the philosophy behind the training has changed so much since its inception, which was more focused around the sort of CrossFit Games mentality, where every time you start a workout, the goal is just to send it as hard as you freaking can. And if you're not lying on the floor, rolling around in agony at the end, it doesn't count as a workout. That was kind of the old mindset. We have come so far since then.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say the CrossFit Games. The CrossFit Games is relatively newer than CrossFit.
Okay, sorry.
But I would say when CrossFit first came out, it was more for the hardcore military, Navy SEALs, intense training. Oh, you think you're fit? Well, let me show you how fit you actually are, because we can measure it. And you had like, mixed martial arts, MMA people doing it, and police officers and, military people coming in and throwing up. And we talked about this before the podcast, but there was also the CrossFit mascot, which was Pukey the Clown.
Yuck.
And it was literally about, how hard can you go? And then when you do your first workout, you're going to see how fit you are, because you're probably going to be over the garbage bin throwing up. And that was the mascot of CrossFit back in the day.
And this is so far from the mindset of CrossFit. Now, if you look at CrossFit's Instagram now, CrossFit HQ, you got like Jimmy from down the street who's 65 years old doing like box step-ups and stuff. And they've really, really tried to change their branding and their marketing away from this sort of workout till you die mentality. And how can we be sustainable and create longevity over time?
It's pretty crazy how long it could take
to change your mind.
A big company to rewire the marketing and to rewire the message, or rewrite the message, I guess.
Yeah.
Because CrossFit has been trying to change this message, I would say, for maybe 15 years.
Yeah.
And for the first 5, I would say even less than 10 years, it was about go hard, intensity. You've never actually worked out properly before. You've never felt
like you
pain.
Should suffer, yeah.
Versus now it's more about functional movement. You should be doing it. Your mom should be doing it. And your mom's mom should be doing it. And all your mom's friends should be doing it, you know? Yeah. And, teenagers, like all ages, all people. It's crazy how long it's taken. And still, how many
there's still so many people
who believe that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would think that's probably the biggest struggle up until now in owning a gym and talking with like the public, the people who are less familiar with CrossFit, is really trying to convince them that it's not that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is easily done if you just come for a free trial.
Easily
done.
Come in for your free semi-sweat. We'll show you the place.
And we'll talk to you about what CrossFit really is.
Yeah. And
you'll have a wonderful first experience that is low intensity, low impact, and
we're gonna get you
entry-level fitness.
We're going to get you on a bike. We're going to teach you a couple bodyweight movements, like a squat and a
ring row
or a pull-up if you have the strength. And we're going to get you, we're just going to talk to you about your goals and everything. It's much more gentle. And then after that, you're going to go through an on-ramp program where we're slowly going to incorporate the intensity while teaching you a bunch of really cool movements, a bunch of functional movements that you probably do every single day, multiple times a day.
Without even knowing.
Oh, you got to pick up your kid?
Yeah.
You got to pick them up and put them in your arm because they're crying? Well, what do you got to do? Well, you got to clean your kid. You got to either deadlift them or you got to clean them up onto your shoulder. And you got to be able to do that safely. And not only that, but hopefully when you're a grandparent, you're also going to be able to do that as well.
Yeah. I have so much faith in my parents becoming grandparents because they work out.
Yeah.
They're ready. They've been in training for this.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Anyways, are there any other misconceptions that we want to discuss?
I think a lot of times also something that comes up really often is like, oh, I don't have like a good knee, or I have this shoulder thing.
Like injury? Yeah.
And so I could never do CrossFit because I have this long time, I had knee surgery in 1980 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like it happens so often that when you're talking to someone, they're like, oh yeah, not for me. I'm asking for my kid because I I don't have good knees. Good knees is like the thing. I don't know what that means, good knees, but you know why your knees suck? Because you do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, I mean, we live by this philosophy that movement is medicine. And society right now just lives too much in a sedentary lifestyle.
100%.
We sit down way too much and we don't move enough. And also, we don't eat good quality food. 100%. So if you take society as a general, where we're not moving, we're sitting more, we're not eating the right amount of foods most of the time, all of these kind of misconceptions are just things that are, I don't know how to say it, but all of these reasons for people like to not try CrossFit are going to be contributing factors for them to not do it.
It becomes a vicious cycle.
You don't feel energized to go to the gym. Okay, that's probably because you sit down most of the day and you don't eat.
You turn into a slug.
You don't eat great food. Oh, your knees are really hurting you. Oh, that's probably because you're sitting down most of the day and you're probably not eating great food.
And also,
you're worried about doing these really high intense workouts. That's because, you sit down most of the day and you're not eating these really good foods.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Your knees are not going to stop being bad knees if you don't use them.
Yeah. And in fact, your knees actually get worse when you don't use them.
Exactly.
But what we do is, again, going back to what we said earlier, is we teach proper movement mechanics.
Yep.
And we're trying, we've said this in a lot of our podcasts, where we do a lot of resistance training.
Yep.
Not always fast. We do a lot of things slowly. So we focus on really building the appropriate muscles around all of our joints. We work ranges of motion that are comfortable for each person, and we try to extend those ranges of motion because why? Well, we typically as a society live a sedentary lifestyle, and we're not used to getting our knees or our ankles or our hips or even our shoulders, because we're sitting down and we're rounded forward at a computer all day, into these positions that we were actually made for. We're actually made 100%. To be able to squat low. So
I think also
a little bit of a tangent there.
No, but I think it's so important to understand. And when you do have a nagging, I don't want to call it like an injury, but an ache or whatever, something like that, there are ways to introduce movements safely. Yeah. And there are movements that maybe you need to avoid at the beginning. But again, that is why we have coaches here to work with the athletes so that we find alternatives. Yeah. I mentioned Tom's girlfriend before with a broken wrist. Like, she's coming at 5 p.m. for a class today. Yeah. We are going to modify the workout for her so that she can do it without one wrist. Yeah. So like, if she can come in with a cast, we have Alain, one of our members, who literally only has one leg and he crushes the workouts. Yeah. So yes, your knees are an issue maybe, but there are ways around that don't mean you can never work out again, because then your knees are going to go to shit real fast.
Yeah. I think I've been in the game for long. For a decent amount of time.
Oh man, Brandino over here.
I think I've been in CrossFit for now like 11 years.
Yep.
And obviously mindsets have changed. I've seen CrossFit evolve over the years as well, over the decade. And I don't know, like, to me, my message, especially as now a gym owner, is that we are creating these superhumans, I feel like. Yeah. We're creating these humans that don't only just feel good in their body, but they look good.
They do.
They also move really freaking good. And other people around them are going to start have been starting to ask them, hey, like,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? And then I'm hoping that the message that they can give the people around them, their inner circles, is they're like, yeah, I'm doing CrossFit, and it's not that intense, or its intensity is relative for any ages. Anyone can do this. My mom could do this. My cousin can do this. My accountant can do this. Yeah. And I just feel like people are thriving in this gym. We're trying to give them information about lifestyle, sleeping properly, eating properly. Yeah. It's the magic that is happening inside our gym is what I wish I could just take someone who
off the streets.
Take them off the streets and just say, and just insert that magic power into them and say, how do you feel now? And that's how a lot of our members are feeling right now. When you focus on your health as a priority, everything in your life improves. And I love seeing it. I'm seeing it by so many of our members, and it's so inspiring.
It goes so much further than just even feeling physically strong and well, because the confidence that you have, the mindset that you have, all kinds of things, the belief in yourself, it's just
this
mind-blowing, the impact it can have. And all you have to do is have a little bit of faith in the beginning and do the scary thing and walk through the doors and just give it a try.
Yeah. And this mindset of like, I this might sound so savage, but this like mindset of, I know that starting at a new gym could be scary.
100%.
Getting out of your comfort zone is scary.
Yep.
Lifting a weight or doing a movement you've never done before can be scary. And I know that. But I encourage people to go into this because to me, that's what life is about. People who are like, oh, I'm too old, or that's too intense for me, or I don't know, they have all these excuses for why they shouldn't be exercising and focusing on their health. To me, I'm like, okay, like you just want to be soft and brittle for the rest of your life. You want to
you just want to deteriorate slowly until you die.
my inner brain starts working, and I'm like, okay, this person just doesn't like to be somewhat uncomfortable for long-term gain. They don't want to challenge themselves. They don't want to lift weight. They don't want to move their body properly. They don't want to start building good nutrition habits. All right, well, it's such a interesting mindset.
Have a nice rest of your life. Yeah, sounds like a shitty way to go if you ask me.
Like I want to live until I'm 80, 90 years old. I want to be in the gym doing group training when I'm freaking 93 years old. That's what I want in life. And I want to feel good in my body. I want to feel good in my skin. And like a lot of people already tell us like, oh, you're so inspiring. But I messaged Katie yesterday. She's super inspiring. She's a mom. She's killing it in the gym it's almost been a full year that she's been here, but I've known her in the past. She took like a long hiatus of CrossFit, so she didn't do CrossFit for a couple years. Decided, hey, like I need to get back into it, need to focus back on my health. She's, mama too, running her own business, has worked so much on her mindset this last year on being just more gentle with herself and not being so hard on herself. She's freaking like back squatting like 200 pounds. She's like this little Scottish lady that, is so strong. And so
you'd be in the line behind her at the grocery store and have no idea. Yeah. She could put you on her back and squat.
She's like, I don't know, maybe 5'1". She's
on a good
petite,
day.
And she's freaking beast, and she's not just killing her fitness, but she's killing her like life right now, and it's so inspiring. And
I love it.
And I feel like so many people
and then
don't realize
she's
that
also
about CrossFit.
Doing, just to build off of the magic that's Katie right now, is she has her 2 sons who come train with her here, and now she's roped her husband in, and she's like, you gotta get in, because she knows that once you get past the scary part at the beginning, that fear, that little bit of discomfort, your life is going to be so much better for it.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. And I know someone might be listening to this and saying, oh, this guy's been doing CrossFit for 10 years, so he doesn't remember. Trust me, I remember the first 3 months of CrossFit, the first 6 months, the first year. I remember for probably the first 3 to maybe even 6 months of me walking into that gym and feeling the butterflies in my stomach, feeling nervous.
Oh my gosh, I used to anxious poop like 6 times before going to the gym when I first started.
Oh my God, it was so...
Sorry, TMI, everybody.
I remember not knowing what the movements were called. Be like, all right, everybody grab an empty bar, form 2 lines. We're going to be doing some cleans. We're going to do some clean drills together. And then the coach shoots us off. We go grab barbells. I don't remember what a freaking clean is. So
I remember thinking that a dumbbell was a barbell for literally the first 2 months.
Yeah. And then I'm looking around and I'm seeing people. I've gone through my foundation, so I know basic intro of the movement. I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, okay. Like that's the movement we're doing. where, oh, my hand's got to be closer, not the wide one, but the close grip one. And I remember that feeling. I remember it almost like it was yesterday. And this was, freaking 11 years ago. I feel for the people who have to go through that at the beginning, but I would strongly encourage everybody to have the mindset of getting uncomfortable and going through those motions until it literally just becomes routine for you. And that's the only way.
Every time you start a new job, you never know what you're doing.
You're going to make real change in your life is if you get into that routine and you're consistent with it and you get uncomfortable and you want to learn and you want to put in effort, and you're going to see every part of your life is going to skyrocket.
Well, what I was just going to say is, like, anytime you start something new, it's like that. Yeah. But then you realize, let's say you start a new job and then 6 months in, you're training the next person. So it's the same thing. Like, everything is stressful when you start. Everything is new. Nobody expects you to know what you're doing.
No. That's why we're here. And that's everyone starts at a unique point of their fitness journey. And we are here to guide you along the way.
Yeah.
And all it takes from you is to show up. That's it.
Just do the scary thing, walk through the doors. The rest after that is going to come to you. Really, like I always say it in yoga classes, but it's true for CrossFit too. The most difficult part of the session is walking through the door. Mm-hmm. Once you have made that decision and commitment to yourself, you can handle the rest. No problem.
Absolutely.
And I just think that this whole discussion about misconceptions is, if you have an excuse, it's just that. It's an excuse. There's no real reason why anyone who wants to live a healthier life can't do CrossFit. Correct. I will always have a reason to debate you on that. There will always be an out, and the answer is always, it's your choice. Absolutely. It's what's happening between the ears.
Yep.
That's stopping you, and not the rest of the body.
Yep. Boom. I hope we
Mic
cleared
drop.
that up.
Boom.
Now, because we're in the
past
recording this for the future.
Yeah.
So instead of doing client of the week,
because we don't know who crushed it this week, we weren't there to see.
What we're going to do.
It was actually test week at CrossFit Max, eh?
Yeah.
So I'm sure everyone was crushing it.
Everyone was crushing it.
Shout out.
Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about a special moment that we've had in the gym. And we had a wonderful human from out of town, from Edmonton, who reached out to us. And he was here for the week visiting family.
Yeah.
I think he had a passing in his
funeral
that he had to attend to.
Dad.
But a wonderful man named Dan.
Yeah, Dan the man.
Dan the man. Second day he walked in, I was like, "What's up, Dan the man?" And then I asked him, "How many times do you get that when you walk into a building?" He's like, "All the time."
Yeah.
But yeah, wonderful guy. I don't know. His age is important for this, because I think some of the things we were talking about today.
We could check on Modify.
He made a comment today when I was talking to him that he's almost 60, I believe.
Okay, so 50s.
Super nice guy.
We're going to get in trouble for calling him an older gentleman like we did a few episodes back.
Younger gentleman. Just almost.
Young spring chicken.
Almost 60.
Yeah.
Super fit, super nice, has such a positive mindset around.
Such a can-do attitude.
Yeah, fitness, health. We've had multiple discussions with him few times this week. I'm so sad he lives
in Edmonton.
Yeah, he was just hoping to get some movement in on his week over
away
here.
From his normal routine.
Yeah.
He sought out a CrossFit gym. Yeah. For the week that he was away from home. If that's not telling about how bought into the mindset of health and fitness someone is, I don't know what it is.
He goes to a CrossFit gym in Edmonton called Triform. Oh, shoot. I've messed it up already. Hold on. Let me just... Triform Athletics. Triform Athletics. That's what it's called. So it's really cool. He's been just a fun energy to be into the groups here.
Yeah, he's been so social.
Even we're doing the countdown for the open in the groups, and we're about to start the MedCon, and I can't remember how I did it, but I called out his name and I was like, Dan, how many opens have you done? And he said 2, and he's going to be doing his 3rd one. And he just yelled out loud, unprompted, but he's like, this for anyone who has never done it before, don't be scared. Just do it. The open is for anyone. And yeah, just a wonderful human.
Love.
So
His energy has been so infectious, and he really does get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anytime there's someone that has any sort of concern about doing CrossFit, this is the man that I just want to put in front of them. And I say, here, Dan, just talk to this person for 30 minutes and tell them why they should be doing CrossFit.
100%.
You know, he's had rotator cuff surgery, I think. He's just a wonderful, wonderful guy who's focusing on his health and his fitness.
And he's extremely fit.
Yeah.
Like impressively fit.
Yeah. Yeah. He's literally the avatar person that you just want to say, hey, Dan, meet this person. This person doesn't want or has concerns about CrossFit. Can you just show them or tell them about CrossFit?
Yeah.
Anyway,
what has your experience been?
You know, there's little moments like this. I mean, we get a lot of moments, but little tiny moments like this as business owners that we get to really come by that are so heartwarming.
Yeah, and impactful.
And I really appreciate.
It reminds you.
Yeah, I just really appreciate, obviously, each and every one of you listeners, but I really, it's one of the really cool things about our life and our business. We get to meet beautiful people like this, beautiful souls, and yeah, I love it.
I love it. We're surrounded by positivity for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you haven't already, please give us a rating and a review on whichever software you're listening to, whether that's Spotify, Apple. I saw some what is it called? iHeartRadio listeners, which was really interesting. Some people
Who are they?
I don't know, but if you're listening to iHeartRadio on CrossFit Max on iHeart, then make sure you give us a rating and a review. We would really appreciate it. And we just want to get this podcast out to so many more people. And we want more people to be kicking ass like you listeners are.
And if you feel like we were talking to you in this episode, or maybe somebody that is close to you, then send them our way. Send them this episode. Tell them all their excuses are bullshit.
We say this often. CrossFit is for anyone, not everyone. It is for anyone who is willing to put in the effort to make the change, and you will reap the rewards if you do so.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys, we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.
Bye.